Brandon Beane, he said this, like, with all of these new players and this influx of rookies, but not just rookies, the Marquez Valdez-Scanlins of the world, the Chase Claypools, they weren't around for 13 seconds. They weren't around for that beatdown put on them by the Cincinnati Bengals. They weren't there for the 44-yard wide right and losing to the Chiefs at home. Quote, you're not walking out there with 53 guys with the same scars. I think psychologically, who knows how you measure that? But did you think there is something to that of just having a lot of new players, a lot of new starters, a lot of new core leaders who weren't really around for this heartbreak where the Bills would get in that moment and it's, here we go again. Damn it, here we go again. Late in the fourth quarter, something is going to go wrong. I mean, but players on those teams said that feeling is real and it's hard to pinpoint it, but something did go wrong constantly. You can go back to the Hail Murray and the Philly Neal and all the nicknames we bestowed upon these meltdowns. And maybe Sean McDermott is to blame for a lot of these losses. People know what I've written on that.
Yeah.
When it comes to the players themselves, there is a benefit to just having a lot of fresh blood in there, isn't there?
Well, let's stop there and ask ourselves a really important question. What had that group really won? What did they win? They've won AFC East. That's great. When Tom Brady was in New England, they weren't doing that. There was 20-year gap where they had, not won the AFC East. And for most of those 20, they weren't even really competitive in the division. So I don't want to belittle that accomplishment because it is an accomplishment, but they've made one conference championship game with this group. So I feel like this team has almost looked at as being, for lack of a better way to phrase it, a little bit better than what it's been. I mean, they've been a playoff team, yes, but they have not made considerably deep playoff runs. They made it to one conference title game. They have never had the number one seed, right? They haven't gotten that bye, which I think could be very important going into the postseason. The best they did in that regard was number 2 last year, and that took a heck of a lot of maneuvering at the end of the year, a winning streak, a collapse by the Dolphins to get there. So when we talk about replacing that core, right, and they've lost so much of it, right, Morse and the captains, Poyer, Hyde, Diggs, right, 6 of 8 team captains, that's a lot, and I get that. And you're losing a lot of leadership. You're losing a lot of guys that know the system. You're also losing a lot of guys who haven't been able to seal the deal in Buffalo. And getting younger, getting cheaper, they had to. They didn't have a choice. The salary cap demanded it. The salary cap is real, right? People can sit there and say that it's not all they want. And yes, I know there's ways to massage it and make moves and maneuver around it, but eventually it catches up with you. And eventually you have to hit a reset button. And they did that with Diggs. They did that with Morse, who still played at a high level last year. They decided not to re-sign Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde. So, I guess release Poyer, before, he had 1 year left on his deal. So they swallowed their medicine, right? They took those shots, those painful shots in a lot of ways. But again, I go back to that group as good as they have been and as much good as they have done for the Bills. They had taken them to one conference championship game. What are we talking about here, right? With Josh Allen, the guy that is top 3 quarterback in the NFL, maybe top 2, right? You're talking about Patrick Mahomes, and then take your pick at who's number 2, right? Lots of people around the league would say it's Josh Allen. I would make the case that maybe this group underachieved